way, this is Purge bringing you guys a replay commentary. I'm going to be doing a Rubik game first, and game 2 is a CM game. For this, this is a 1K MMR game. Thank you, Jesse, for submitting. Sorry for the super delay on getting this covered. My apologies, been busy with stuff. Speaking of which, I actually do have about 2 weeks off here, just in terms of hard limits on stuff. The Day 9 show next week on Wednesday is we're taking a break this week because Sean is out of the house for about a week, or I think just taking a vacation, not sure which, but he has a little bit of time off. So because of that, we're not going to be doing a show on Wednesday. So I'm going to try to get some variety in. Going to be doing a item video again. Last time we did one on Deso. I think I have a Midas one that I wrote that's almost finished, and I want to do an Orchid one as well. So hopefully those soon. I also have allergies right now, so apologies in the head for all the sniffling and stuff. And I think it just gets worse when I'm talking a lot. So I'm sure this will be a lot of sniffling. Probably because I have to take in more airflow because I'm talking more, is my guess. So I'm already sniffling in like 5 minutes ago. It was completely fine. So yeah, okay, we get to deal with that as well. Cool, fun. Alright, so let's start it up. I'm going to take note of the start time. And then we are good. And I'm going to very quickly blow minutes. 1 sec. Alright, I love being able to pause. Okay, just take a note. We are starting at 39. And we're good. Okay. Oops, accidentally pressed pause again because I'm stupid. Alright, so this is a 1K MMR player. Let me get some other info about him. New to matchmaking, initially got calibrated about 900 MMR. Doesn't bother your ego, but what we find is you feel you are skillful and knowledgeable than most of your teammates. We'd like to note, as an unbiased party, a more knowledgeable player, do you think you play like a 1K MMR player? If I agree that you're a bit higher caliber, what can you do in that relative skill advantage to turn that relative skill advantage to more wins? If you think 1K MMR isn't right, about what should I be? If you think it's not right, what should you be working on? Typically, you try and play what I think the team needs rather than my own preference. This means sometimes core, sometimes support, but I feel like I'm a better support player, so I'm providing support games. Okay, first comment about that is always play what you want to play with the exception of when the lanes just simply don't work out. So for example, if your team has 4 carries, or well,
30 seconds.
if your team has no carry, you should probably pick carry, for example. If your team has no support, I really recommend you play support. But for your own purposes, you should play whatever you like playing, because let's be real, you're playing Dota, you're doing this for fun, and your MMR is low enough where really it doesn't matter that much. You should play what you feel you're good at. I'm not saying that you should always Legion jungle, for example, and screw your lanes over, but I think you should do what you want to have fun while also affecting the game in a positive way. You should be slapping this guy, by the way.
The battle begins.
Okay, so based on this first engagement, it seems clear to me that you're 1K MMR, based on the way that you reacted to this. So let's think about the situation really quick. You guys are basically running around 5 in the enemy jungle. You're looking for enemy heroes, and you see a bounty hunter here. You hit him once, but then you started running. But what is the purpose of running for you? It's not really worth it. It's okay for you to trade hits with this guy because you have allies to back you up. And if you wait long enough, you can lift him with telekinesis and as a result, possibly get a kill. In fact, if you just would have lifted him here as the jug approached, and then possibly thrown him into the slaughter, it's entirely possible that one of these guys could have done... I should really resume the game so that stops. You could have thrown him into one of your allies. At the very least, you could have attacked him more. You didn't have to just run away after the first hit. So little advantages like that, like knowing what to do in every circumstance, is really, really important. One thing's for sure, that guy is in 1K MMR. Are you just constantly taunting? I'm unsure why you're waiting at the rune, or at the fountain. Okay, let's look at the timer right here. Let's think of everything that you've done since the game started. You walked all the way to the top lane. You attacked the bounty hunter once, you didn't lift him in time, and then you walked all the way to the bot lane, kind of. It is 1 minute into the game. There has been 1 full minute of stuff happening on the map, and you have done nothing. Like 1 minute of your game time completely wasted. There's been like at least 1 creep wave here that has lived and died, and you're just not, nobody's been there to get the experience. If you had just been here, you would be level 2 right now, at the least. And you'd probably have at least 1 last hits. So game impact right now, all you've done basically is walk across the whole map and put this ward down. That's it. And now you're running something out on the courier. Let's take a look at what it is. It is 2 sentries. Okay, you kind of need sentries to deal with the Treon. I think that's reasonable. I won't criticize you for this. But I could very easily say Yo, if you're buying items, look at the scoreboard, see what you're up against. You're against a treant and a bounty hunter. You're gonna need detection no matter what. Jedi and that creep is good. I would go start a pull right now. Would be the right thing to do. This is all good. And I would connect the pull most likely. I like your sentry there. I think it's a decent place. Unfortunately for you, they're already level 2, so this is kind of scary. Here's the next issue is that because you pulled... Oh, you need to be really careful. Oh, that was really unfortunate. I think you standing here is just crazy because, like, if these guys had any ranged nukes at all, you would die from this position because this guy sees you because the creep is attacking you, and you're taking damage. By the way, every time that creep hits you, you're losing about 10 HP. And also, I think stopping to turn and cast a spell was also a mistake. If you actually just continued moving, you could have ran down here, eaten this tree with a tango, and then juked. But instead, because you stopped, you guaranteed that he was going to kill you, no matter what. So you're already messing up your mechanics a little bit. What you should be doing now is you should have done a stack pull most likely. Okay, that was good. I like how you dealt with that. You are bringing the courier to yourself a lot though. I do like that you got a flying. What is going on here? Whose items are these? These are Viper's items. I don't know why the courier came all the way back down here. Maybe you accidentally selected it or something. So it would have been a great time to just right click the axe. This whole time that you're sitting here right now, you should be doing something. But instead you're messing with the courier. Like, you could have right clicked the axe like 6 times. Also using your Fade Bolt at level 1, completely not good. This does 80 magic damage and it costs 120 mana. You basically burned over a fourth of your mana pool just to do 80 magic damage, and the only thing that accomplishes is slightly making it harder from the last hit, but that doesn't really matter because the axe is going to use spin, or accidentally use counter helix to get last hits. Your skill build here is terrible. Do not put 2 points into telekinesis. Look at the marginal value you're getting for this. By putting a skill point into this, you're increasing your stun duration on a single target by 0.25 seconds. When it lands, the AoE stun that it does is increased by 0.25 seconds, and the cast range goes up by 25. That means you spent a skill point to increase the stun duration by that 0.25 seconds. Is that worth a skill point, or is it better for you to put 2 in Fade Bolt so your Fade Bolt does an extra 80 magic damage? That's far better. It's not even close to the right move. If you're level 3, you should always have 2 skill points, almost always in your nuke. One of the nice things about telekinesis is it pretty much works just fine with 1 skill point in the early game. Most players do get 2 because 1 point to no field early doesn't do that much, but to not get a 2nd point in Fade Bolt is unacceptable as a hero. Like, this is absolutely basic stuff. So, back to pull, which is good. I like that you're doing this. You've lifted him way too early here. You only want to lift when shit's hitting the fan, or if you want to commit to a kill. By lifting him right here, you're basically saying, oh, I want to keep him away from my creeps so he doesn't steal my creeps. And that's fine, I guess. But you're spending, again, 120 mana to do this. And by doing this, your mana's gone now. And it looks like you're using Fade Bolt here to try to get the last hit, but you missed that. And now you have nothing. You have literally nothing. You have 0 mana. You've got Clarity Potions, but you basically use your Telekinesis to push him away from a creep wave that was eventually going to die anyways. Like, you lifting him wasn't going to really delay it by much, not more than 3 seconds. And then you used your nuke, so now you just don't do damage. Like, the only reason you're not dead right now is because the Leshrac has saved your life. That's pretty much it. You didn't have your spells up for when the action was actually important. You didn't use your spells in a way that helped get you a kill. And if you're not using your skills in that way, then you're not using your skills well. Like, the way that you're using your skills is only good if you have, like, stupid amounts of mana for no reason. This would be a good time to lift the axe. This is good. Yep, yeah, I like that you pushed him back towards the tower. That's fantastic. The only problem is I wish that you had a little bit more mana. That way you could have Fade Bolt, and I wish you had 2 points in Fade Bolt, because you 100% could have killed the axe there. If you had 2 points in Bolt, and you had just a little more mana, 100% dead. But you can't do that because you wasted your mana early. Grabbing a bounty rune here, which is fine. Alright, if you are flying out a magic stick and no boots, you're making a giant mistake. So look at your hero right now. What are your needs? Your needs are, you want levels, you want gold, you want movement speed, you need mana regen, but instead you're buying observer wards and sentries and a magic stick. a magic stick does not solve your mana problems. Yes, it's a great item for keeping you alive sometimes when people cast spells, but the only spells these guys are going to cast are Living Armor, Leech Seed, and Berserker's Call, maybe Battle Hunger. So at most, you're spending 200 of your first bit of gold on an item that will maybe give you a small HP edge against these guys. But it's not going to be enough for you to get an advantage, because these guys can almost for sure kill you before you kill them. You having 4 magic stick charges, which is 60 HP, is not going to make a difference. You'd be better off to buy like Ironwood branches. Like if you're this early in the game and you're like, oh, I really need survivability, I would prefer you buy 2 Ironwood branches than buy a magic stick. And that doesn't necessarily solve your mana problem, but magic stick sure as hell doesn't either, because every single time you cast a spell, it costs you 120 mana. Magic stick is not the solution early game. Almost all new low-level MMR players have that issue in the early game, that they almost never are good with their first 1,000 gold. You bought Flying Courier, which is great. You got Sentries. I get that you kind of need them and these are getting low, but what you really need is Brown Boots, because when you have Boots, then you're actually running as fast as these guys, and if you don't have that, now they're always running faster than you, which means that you moving around the map is harder. It also means that you getting anything done is harder. So now you've had to go over here and use a Shrine just because you're missing 200 points of mana, because otherwise you're useless. I really hope you get 2 points in Fade Bolt. And now you're like, hey, I need mana, so let's solve that. You bought a Clarity Potion, now you're buying a TP. You still don't have Boots. Like, you can't delay all of these purchases. Instead of buying 2 Sentries and a Magic Stick here, you could have just bought an Observer Ward and a Boots and flown that out to you. Or you could have bought Boots, an Observer Ward, and a Clarity Potion. And that would also solve your problems. But instead, you've been hogging the Courier like all game. This is like the 3rd time that the Couriers come to you. One of them was a mistake. But this is not an acceptable use of your team's resource. Like, what's the point of using your mana like this? You're just actually helping him farm faster, in all honesty. Like, in this game, all you've really accomplished is single pulling like 3 times. The reason that you're 1,000 MMR is because your skill build was not min-maxed, and your impact on this game has been almost non-existent. And now you just spent 200 gold to have sentries in 2 areas nearby. One of them is pretty good to have it in lane against tree, but the other 100 is over here in the jungle, which scouts if they're trying to find you when you're pulling, and maybe gets a ward. But this was the first 200 gold you had in this game right now. And you put one of them down just to have vision against, I guess, safety against the bounty hunter if he showed up. And the other one is just in case you pull. But what's the point of putting this one down right now if you're not pulling? And by buying these sentries, you gimped yourself from having Boots, which means you're just at a massive disadvantage over these guys. You just like don't have any advantage because you spent all your money on a magic stick, which has 1 charge now. It doesn't give you any passive stats. And 2 sentries, which are now on the ground and wasted. Like, your net worth is going to be so low. Look at this net worth. You're in a 1k MMR average game, and you have 500 net worth at the 7-minute mark. This is like half as what anybody else in the game has. And this is one of the problems, I think, that also happens for some support players at low MMR, is they think about doing their support duties, but they always forget about themselves. They get too... They accept the reality that they're support and they need to buy items for their team, but they go too heavily into that. They think like, if I don't buy wards all the time, then my team's gonna yell at me or I'm not doing my job right. The reality is that you dying is also you not doing your job right, and you are just letting them kill you right now if they go on you because of the fact that you don't have Boots. Lifting that guy was good. I was fairly pleased with that, but like, you still haven't gotten yourself anything yet this game. You've done 2 single pulls. They've both been contested, and you got to the lane super late. I think that, yeah, this is bugged for some reason. It says it's a sentry. Alright, you almost saved this guy's life. But again, we've seen like 6 lifts and maybe 2 Fade Bolts. Hasn't been very stellar in terms of contribution. You're last hitting now, but if it wasn't for you being in a lane last hitting, I feel like you would actually have nothing this game. I'm actually quite surprised they didn't dive you there. They really should have. You're actually very good at last hitting, under tower especially. Most players are not very successful at that. I feel like you're going to nuke this. Yep, there it is. Okay, you've almost got 6 now. Your net worth is going up a bit. You're catching up in levels, but this is basically just because your ally died and was not in the lane anymore. When it kind of should be different. You should be getting more advantage in your lane because you're playing support correctly and getting kills and stuff like that. Not necessarily just because your guy leaves once in a while. You still don't have Boots. You could have bought it at the side shop there, and you 100% should have. You're connecting, which is good. Like, you know, you definitely know things Like, you know that you should pull, and you know that you should pull through. That's great. Most 1k MMR players, I completely agree, have no idea how to do that. But you also missed all of these last hits. This is worth about 80 gold, I believe. And I think the Ghost is maybe worth like 40 or something. You've already lost 120 net worth, just not last hitting these. You got the levels at least, you're 6, but you've essentially done almost nothing. Like, you understand how to pull and pull through, but you don't understand when to do it. And just knowing that doesn't make you a better player. It lets you know kind of how to do some support duties, but it doesn't mean that you're executing them correctly is the issue. And that's certainly not something that you weren't doing this game. You weren't executing your early duties very well. Like, these guys are just wrecking you, to be honest. Like, they got more out of their lane, they got kills. I mean, I guess your Leshrac got kills at one time, but that was about it. I'm really surprised they're not going for the tower here. TPing back to the bot lane. Could have bought boots this whole time. You still haven't purchased them. If you did buy them, you maybe wouldn't have died there, by the way. But again, you're always slower than these guys, so you don't really have an opportunity. And now you're back to the safe lane. You're actually just farming. I mean, you basically spent 11 minutes in this area right here. If I just zoom out a little bit. I haven't seen you, outside of grabbing a bounty rune and going to the shrine once because you needed mana, I haven't seen you leave this area of the map ever. And we're now 12 minutes in, and you guys lost your safe lane tower. So it's pretty safe to say that supporting has failed here. You didn't really contribute that much to your lane. You used mana inefficiently pretty much every time that you ever used it, with the exception of maybe a couple times here with sentries, where you would lift him before your Leshrac got killed, and now you lost your safe lane at 12 minutes. That's completely unacceptable. And I get that they're a dual melee and they're scary, but you should have came to lane with one sentry. You should have harassed the crap out of them with help from Leshrac to get their HP low, and when they're in danger, you should try to kill them. But I never even saw opportunities for you guys to do that, mostly because you were pretty much always out of mana, and you never had anything like a movement speed advantage, nor did you seem to have a fundamental grasp on like having a ranged advantage versus these guys. And you are even using mana just to do things like get last hits, but what's the point of that? Like, this is the root of the issue. You have mana problems because you're using mana in bad ways, but you don't really ever have a decent mana pool to start with. Like, you should have had boots of speed this whole time, but instead what you're thinking is, I need the energy booster because that gives me mana and that will solve my mana problems. But you still haven't solved your movement speed problems, you still haven't solved your kiting problems, you still haven't survived your I need to not die problems. You're focused entirely on mana, but you're completely going the wrong way about it. You're actually buying your items like completely out of order. Yes, Magic Stick helps with mana, but that's an item you get after Arcane Boots almost always. Minimum after your Boots of Speed, at the least. If you are really poor and you want to deal with get some mana, Clarity Potions are your solution. Or maybe getting a Raindrop. Or both. Raindrop will give you 0.85 mana per second. That's basically like 50% more mana for you. Technically, it'd be better for you to get a Sage's Mask. It's actually more mana in the long run, but because your int is really high. But Magic Stick for the first 200 gold you have? Hell no, that is not what you spend your money on. This has gotten you less than 100 mana this whole game so far. And it's never giving you enough HP to actually give you a kill. So basically what you're doing is you're buying things that kind of give you stuff like mana, but it's not the right order. It should have been like Boots of Speed so that these really tanky heroes don't have a mobility advantage over you, and then you can continuously right click them. And then maybe if their HP's low, you can lift them with telekinesis, Leshrac can land his stun, and you guys can probably kill the guy using your skills. But that never happened because you kept wasting your mana over here trying to deal with the axe, and then gimping yourself, and because you had low mana you couldn't do anything else, and then you just stand around. And then you never left the lane, and then you started getting last hits, but now you're spending your items, your gold on the wrong thing, now you got an energy booster. But now you're going to get to mid really late. If you had boots, you would have gotten here in time to actually help. You should have certainly gotten that bounty hunter kill, but if we take a look where you're looking here. Here's another issue, you're not looking at the fight, you're looking at where your hero is running. But that's not needed. I think you're scared right now, which is why you're running. You're like, oh, this Viper is 100% going to die. But you can stand in the trees within striking distance but not actually show. And that's what you should be doing. You also could have stealed an ultimate from anybody here, or a skill from anybody, but you haven't even tried to do that either. And this guy actually got really close to dying just due to the Viper Strike. Like, at the least, you should have stolen a spell. Like, as soon as you hit 6, if there's a hero in your lane, you need to steal a spell from somebody. Like, you just need to steal the spell. There's no reason for you not to steal the spell. Also, if you're level 7, your Fade Bolt should be maxed out. That is how you do your damage. It goes down to a 10-second cooldown. That means every 10 seconds you can do a 320 AoE nuke. If you leave this and level it up equally with telekinesis, it's the same thing. you're making your hero weaker than it should be, because you're putting your skill points, which are essentially your potential for damage utility, into a skill that only scales by 0.25 seconds of stun. The only reason that pro players go like 2 points in telekinesis and 4 in fade bolt is because they would prefer to have slightly more stun duration than having 10% magic resistance, which is semi-fair, because if it's a super early game, people don't have enough HP really for the null field to really matter. And this, again, same issue. Like, if you're playing a hero, you got to look at what skills you have and be like, hey, which one of my skills are the most important? How am I going to do damage with my hero? The reality is that right now you do no damage because you have 3 points in Fade Bolt. You're not using your ultimate to steal any other skills. And your hero has bad base damage, bad movement speed, and you still don't have any ability to move around the map. Like, you still haven't bought Boots of Speed. This is like your basis of the game is moving places and dodging spells and getting in position to cast your spells, and you can't even do that because you're more concerned about increasing your raw mana pool, which doesn't even guarantee that you have a lot of mana. In fact, as you grab this, it's only giving about half of the value because you're missing mana by the time it got put in your inventory. So yeah, you got more mana now, but that doesn't mean that this is working out effectively. Fade Bolt any day would be good here. I think you also could have moved in to use Berserker's Call just to disable these guys. I think that would have been fairly reasonable. If you had any boots here, you probably could try to chase the Invoker. You would have been faster than him, but you're actually slower because you don't have boots yet. Yes, run with the meatball. Your null field is actually very useful here. Well, you got the boulder off. I mean, it certainly didn't go awful. But if you had boots there, it would have been way better. Okay, you got your arcane boots. But we're 14 minutes in. Look at your net worth compared to your teams. You may have more knowledge, but you are not farming nearly as close. And the only reason that your levels are probably comparable is because you sat in the safe lane by yourself for a long time because the Leshrac left. That's the only reason. So your levels being comparable is basically inflated because your Lesh left the lane. But your ability to collect resources is atrocious. And the order at which you're buying your items is atrocious, and your skill build is atrocious. That's why you're 1000 MMR. Like, these are the simple things you have to do to get past the 1000 MMR range. Most of the players in this game, in fact, actually do have pretty reasonable skill builds, I feel. Like, these guys are pretty much straightforward. They're like, hey, these are my best skills. I'm going to max them first. I'm going to buy items that facilitate and make my hero better. You're doing that too, but your skill build is way off. It is like actually insanely way off. This guy has the right skill build. His items are bad. Treant skill build is pretty bad, but it at least makes a little sense. Lich's build is fine, but you're off on build and you're off on play a little bit. The dust was kind of a good try, but should be using your nuke here. Okay, that was pretty good. I think you played that well. Now your net worth's finally catching up because you've been in a couple fights. But remember how this game started where you just didn't have boots and you were gimped from the start. That's because the way that you contributed to your lane was very, very weak. This is kind of dangerous to continue pushing here. And I also think you should go straight for Blink Dagger usually instead of Axe Rush. Axe Rush does give you HP and all, but it's not very worth it. It's better for you to prioritize, looks like you finished Wand and got Sentries and Observers, which is good. I like that. I think it's decent purchase here. I feel like you're going to ward on your side of the cliff. This is completely unnecessary. You don't need vision here. What you want to do is put vision aggressively, usually. Because I feel like you guys are winning right now, which means you should put wards on their side of the map. You went for plus 50 damage, which is fine. I think that both are decent. And here you are maxing telekinesis first. Huge mistake. That's 80 damage. 80 magic damage on a 10-second cooldown. Like, that's so good. You can't pass that up. One of these is an obs, it looks like, at least, which is good. I like this observer, but this one's wasted. This observer ward should have been here, and this one shouldn't have been placed. That would have been the better move to do. Now you're kind of placing sentries like everywhere, but not really for good reason. I don't know if you're trying to de-ward or you're trying to protect yourself from invis heroes. But the problem, you're actually going to find one, unfortunately, which really shouldn't happen, but like, the fact you found somebody with that was kind of crazy. But basically, like, As soon as this creep wave dies, if your sentry is here for protection and the creep wave moves up here, your sentry becomes kind of wasted now. Because now it's not going to protect what you're doing. What is better usually is grouping with your team to go for a push, and then when you're pushing a tower, you put a sentry like here. That way, while you're pushing the tower, the sentry protects you. But if you just run around the map putting sentries everywhere, they're not really going to help you very much. Like this sentry, this might have been a mistake. I think you meant to place a ward maybe. Sometimes these are good because they can see like an invis hero running through a ward to go somewhere, right? But to place a sentry everywhere, like every single time this is 100 gold, and look at your net worth now, you're actually behind again because you are spending too much on sentries. Instead, it's better to put sentries down in a place where you think you're going to get something done. All right, you sentry warded here, I think, or it's a ward. I think it's a ward, which is fine. That's just a Forge Spirit. You finally maxed out Fade Bolt, but that's unacceptable. That should have been maxed at 7. This Observer Ward is fine. Although this Observer Ward kind of makes this one irrelevant. It's not worth it for you to have one here, now that you have one over here, because they kind of cover the same purpose, which is seeing people move in this sort of area. I wish this Observer Ward was maybe deeper, like here, maybe up here, maybe over here would be better. Because you kind of just like super warded this area of the map and super warded this area of the map. But you shouldn't place them this close. You should spread them out a little bit more. Even like placing this ward, if you put it up here instead, then it's fine. Then you have a ward over here and you have a ward over here. But right now, both your wards kind of do the same thing. Nuking this is good. Arcane Boots off cooldown, you should be using these. Okay, good. If you have downtime, you can do things like farm small camps like this. But really what you should do is just wait for these guys to come back and maybe gank them, because you have wards in the area. Why does this jug look stupid? Is this like a gem or something? I don't know if this is just a bug, but it looks hilarious. Let's see how you deal with this one. Should steal a skill for sure. There's no reason for you not to steal skill. You have no spell steal.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's structures are falling.
That's unfortunate about the regen. Yeah, you weren't paying good attention to your hero there. He was on your camera at this turn. Basically, I noticed as soon as your HP went down a lot. Here I noticed. I guess it's a team fight though, this shit's kind of crazy. At the very least, cast your spells. If you lifted that guy and nuked him and used Cold Snap, maybe the Jug could kill him. So here's your sentries, you're probably thinking like, damn, I died to Bounty Hunter because I didn't have sentries there. But it's also a mix of play as well, very much so a mix of play. So now you're probably going to kind of go overboard on sentries again, which is going to keep keeping your net worth down. This is part of the reason that players with invis heroes on their teams usually win, because sometimes they'll run into players like you that overspend on detection because they feel that's why they're losing. And it's correct, they're losing because they don't have detection, but they're not using the detection they do buy in a healthy way. So they're overspending and their net worth just is atrocious because of it. But the big thing is you're really not using your skills very well. Like you even standing next to this creep wave is insane because they have an axe. So because of you standing here, you're actually just like increasing your chance to die. Like this is not safe. This guy could instantly blink right here, call, and you're dead, 100%. But he didn't go in because he's scared. Like, that should have been you dying right there. And you still haven't stolen a spell, by the way. Chain Frost would have been better, but I don't really blame you too much. Alright, looks like you used it. You got one hero. It's too bad you didn't get the chain, though. Good usage of your nuke, that's fine. And now you gotta wait for your ultimate. Should be chasing. Did he miss? Yeah, he actually completely whiffed. I think you ran a little bit too much there, maybe? Would have been a good time to lift or something. You are not helping your team. You should be right-clicking this axe the whole time, in my opinion. I think you super ditched there. You're running too far away when fights are happening. I think you could be going in a bit farther. And not too surprising you buy Point Booster since you've had it queued up, but I don't think this is the right move. I think Blink Dagger is better. If you're playing Rubik correctly, Blink Dagger is far better. I like that you're moving over here. This is great. If you guys push this tower, this would be a good time to put a sentry up here. Like, yep, that's perfect. I like this. That's good. I like that. Is this guy BOTs? Huh. Interesting build.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
I think you're focusing a little bit too much on what spells you're stealing versus using your skills well. Like, as soon as this root comes off here, this tornado is okay, but you need to lift somebody right away. Like, your telekinesis off cooldown, but instead you're focused on using meteor. Like, the only reason you guys got this kill, basically, is because the Treant hit again, and you remembered to use dust, in my opinion. But if you've got telekinesis off cooldown, use that thing. Don't be so focused on your opponent's abilities. Not the skill you wanted, I'm sure, but... double click that instead of clicking on base, because you'll go straight to base instead. Feeling that your team is all dying.
Dire's middle tower
Yeah, that guy is
under
real dead.
attack.
Walking the bot lane I think is fine, just because shit's all over top. Just push the wave out temporarily. Honestly, if you're MMR, I actually do like the plus 50 damage. And there are times where Rubik getting that is completely reasonable. I think most pros do get the gold per minute, but I think 50 damage is really good. If you have time to use it. And by that I mean farming mostly. I think you could have TP'd more aggressive. You should lift this guy. He's really fast, unfortunately. Oh, you got track. That's a huge steal. You gotta use it though. Use it, damn it! You're not tracking anybody. Use track. What are you doing? What are you doing? Alright, look how you did this team fight. You basically had a huge opportunity. The TP in whatever doesn't hit. But now Axe is running away, okay? So you're just looking to catch somebody. You steal track. Huge steal. This means if you cast this on anybody and they die, you get 250 gold. If you cast this on anybody, you get 250 gold if they die. It's insane. And look who's dying. It's this bounty hunter over here. Cast frickin' track, dude. Instead, you walked in, you casted Fade Bolt, and now you're just running. Bounty 100% could have been killed. You still haven't used telekinesis. That was basically a team fight with like 3 people, and you didn't use any skills other than Fade Bolt. You used Fade Bolt and you ran away. That was all that happened just now. Track is the skill. Like, it is the skill that you want. You should instantly just start tracking people. Not only does it give you bonus damage, but it gives your team 18% bonus movement speed. Which is insane for like kiting and stuff like that. Like, if you just like lifted the bounty or the axe, if you lifted the axe there, what happened was Jug got berserkers called, so he was aggroed into attacking axe, and because of that, the bounty hunter was able to run outside of spin range. So if you would have just tracked the bounty and lifted the axe, bounty would have died, you would have gotten 250 gold, everybody in your team nearby would have gotten 80 extra gold for that kill. And then probably you just like keep killing like, this guy's attacking 3 heroes. You can see 3 enemy heroes on the map and this guy over here, and you're just running away from Lich, and you could instead just stun him for 2.25 seconds. Like, it's actually crazy, man. There's so much you could do in these fights, but you're not doing anything. You're not even casting your spells. What? That was track, bro. Oh god, that was track. Oh, not track. You don't give up track. Like, this is your way to finish any item you want. Like, if you have track, you just track 4 dead heroes, you get 1,000 gold. That's like a free blink dagger. That's like so much better than a gold per minute perk, for example. You're still not casting your spells. You still haven't cast anything. You cast, like, the way that you're trying to play Rubik is like, oh, my spells are worthless, and all I want is their spells. But that is not the benefit of Rubik. Like, there's so much more than that. I don't know how they had vision there, but... like, you could have easily had Ags right now if you just had track.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And at some point you might as well just go back to base to heal, because you're missing so much mana. It's going to take forever for that to regen. Again, another sentry ward that's probably not going to do anything. And an observer ward that's way too defensive. This should be deep. Somewhere here would be great. Alright, you found the whole enemy team.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They're pretty much all together, so getting a kill there was certainly not going to work. You should be using your arcane boots. Losing a lot of mana here. Let's give something around like 2 mana per second essentially. So if you would have used it like 20 seconds ago, 30 seconds ago, you've lost 60 mana so far that you could have had. You also could have been farming creeps in the meantime. You hit really hard and right click. Why not hit creeps? You could have killed a camper too by now. We went for 150 health. I think this is maybe a mistake. I would prefer int here. If you've already got Ags components and you're relatively tanky, I think the other item's better. Steal spell? Why not steal spell? There's nothing else to steal here. Like, you should steal spell. There's no reason not to. Frost Blast is not terrible. If you had any observer, by the way, this observer ward you placed over here, if you had placed it deeper, this fight all would have gone better. Because it would have seen them approaching. It's been a great time to use track or anything. Way too far away for dust to hit there. You're kind of just running through danger most of the time. Oh, there's that gem. Did anybody grab the gem? You still don't have Ags yet, by the way. We're 32 minutes in. Your net worth is still the lowest in the whole game. You're not really using your skills very effectively either. I think it would, like, if you had a blink dagger right there, you could just blink forward and grab the Lich, for example, and pull him back and kill him. There's no question about it. Like, you're just not survivable with these items, and you're not able to initiate when you need to, and you're still not getting your item. You're kind of just feeding now. You're focusing so much on the spells you can steal from your opponents, you're not thinking about dying, not dying, and the 2 spells you have.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
TP in the bot lane. We'll see what you do here. I'm guessing you're gonna push out the lane or ward or something. Looks like you're gonna ward. Really need deep wards. Looks like you'll do in here. This is fine. I think this one is okay here. Why the sentry? Why spend 100 gold on that? Your 100 gold is now gone. You no longer have that 100 gold. You can't use it in fights. You can't use it in ganks. Your sentry's gone. You're just pissing gold away, man. Is this another sentry? All right, and there's your 200 gold gone. It's not because of detection. Really, it's just you're checking for wards, but now you've lost 200 gold. Like, all of the sentries you've wasted, if you just put them together, you've almost got a blink dagger, basically. Because maybe 25% of your sentry wards have been well used. So you wouldn't maybe get a blink dagger, but you 100% would have Ags right now.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
You're just giving up so much for almost no gain.
Dire's bottom tower.
Wards are great. Sentries, don't place those like just randomly. You don't do that. It's a waste. Looks like he has Ags. That was a terrible ward. You should put it on the next cliff up. Hey, you stole a skill. Where's that battle hunger? Use your battle hunger. Why don't you use battle hunger? Alright, this is how this should go. Oh shit, he initiated? Use your first 2 spells, steal spell, whatever you get, can use it on him. Yes, you can. Oh man, this does 40 damage a second for 10 seconds. That's 400 damage! Cast that shit! Cast it on him, and increases your movement speed by 12%. Just cast it on them. Why not cast it on them? Do you not know the skill? Is that the problem? Do you not know what the icons are? Perhaps that's the issue. Maybe you don't know what... If that's the case, don't play Rubik. It's that simple. Because you should know that this is Battle Hunger, and you can use it on Axe and do 400 damage. And you're running so far away. You're like, oh shit, dude, this guy scared me. Let's run. And here you are, just sprinting away. Like, you don't understand when you're strong, when they're out of position. This guy just blinked to a camp, which requires him to run all the way around. He has to be like, oh, time to escape. Let me run all the way this way. Okay, now I'm getting to my side of the map. That means you have like 4 seconds or something for him just to wrap around. So you could just stand from like attack range and keep attacking him. If he can't blink, he will not gap close and kill you, basically. If he runs in and casts Battle Berserker's Call on you, you messed up and let him get way too close. But what's actually incredible right now is you guys haven't even right-clicked him once. You just used a bunch of spells. So all you're doing is denying his heart. Alright, that was the first auto attack just now. Like, this guy's lost half of his HP, and that's the first time that anyone's auto-attacked him. And look at your position through this whole thing. You guys are killing him, but you're just standing in melee range the whole time. And because of that, he gets the taunt off. They get the most, like, value Meteor Blast combo, and now Axe is turning things around. Because your guys' positioning was way too close. Like, you're not balancing where you need to be. Be far away, but don't stand so close that all you have to do is press this first skill, and then you just die because of it. Like, I get it, the fountain was here, but your HP was full. You don't even need the fountain. It's actually just not even needed. Just kill the guy. This guy really needed a Manta here. So now he's just dead. But honestly, you're not using your skills correctly. 4, 7, and 12, not a very good KDA. It's kind of okay, but your net worth is atrocious. 5,500. You're overspending on sentries. You've never... Again, you're doing the same thing. Oh, I've got 500 gold. Let's spend it all on sentries and observer wards and go place it somewhere because I'm support. And you are, but finish your damn Ags, man. So not having the Ags means that this item, the Ogre Club, doesn't even do anything for you. It's basically 1,000 gold that's sitting there that's not even being used. In fact, you should use it. Swap it out for your teleports, girl. You don't always need a TP ready within 6 seconds. You could have an extra 200 HP right now. That's very survivable. Again, sentry wasted. That's 100 gold gone. Did you put one over here? Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's an obs. Yeah, I think it's an obs. But, oh, there's your gold. Gold's gone. There's 200 more gold. Unless it's an observer. Okay, it's an observer. Do you have any sentries? I'm sure you placed both. Do they all say? Alright, it's the one that shows this. Maybe you just placed one? I'm not sure. Now, what have you been doing? Now you're in base. Waiting in base. Just sitting. Oh, time to spend more money. Could have been you getting closer to Blade of Alacrity to finish your Ags. You're 40 minutes into the game and you actually don't have an item yet. It may not feel like that, but you genuinely don't have an item. If Ags is not completed, all it is just raw HP and stats. You haven't completed a single item this whole game except for Arcane Boots and Wand. We're 40 minutes in. You could have had a magic, you could have had like an urn. You could have had maybe a mechanism. You could have built a force staff. You could have built a glimmer cape, but you have nothing. You just have raw stats. Raw stats don't help you once you're caught against heroes that are much stronger than you. So Rubik has to survive based on mobility, moving around the map and getting stuff done, and you've done almost none of that thus far. You haven't just farmed your Ags. You've been like 500 gold away from finishing the Blade, and you'll just go stand around. Like right now, I guess you have to hurry. This is reasonable. Ooh, that guy's real dead. Farm this camp on the way back or something. Like, so many places you could get resources that you just haven't done.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Oh, this guy's real dead. Steel track? Alright, now you're dead. Again, same thing. You take damage, you're dead. Because you're not going to be able to run away once you get caught. That's one of the reasons why something like 150 health isn't always worth it. Because it's probably just better for you to get mobility instead. I don't think you're using Rubik's skills very well. I don't think you're really ready to pick Rubik. I think you should just pick somebody that's more straightforward. Like Lich or something. Like, know what your spells do, use them, focus on those. Don't focus on like what spells your opponents are casting. Like, Rubik is not an easy hero to play. And the way that you're playing him by going like Ags Rush is not efficient. Also, he's also not very good at the laning stage. He's quite weak at the laning because it requires you to right click a lot. And if you're not doing that correctly, then you're not getting value out of telekinesis. Plus, his mana usage is very difficult in the early game. You're picking like one of the harder heroes for you to play at 1k MMR. And that's fine if you like playing him, but there's so many things that are fairly simple that you need to fix. Mostly your skill builds were huge, your mana usage in the early game, and now in the mid game, you're also accomplishing very little. You're kind of just existing in the game, and sometimes fights happen, you show up, but you're not really the deciding factor in any of these. he stole Overgrowth, running in for the Overgrowth. Okay, you used Overgrowth, that was good. This fight has been okay so far. If you had Ags, you could have actually stolen this, of course, but you're gonna die now. I think this game is just kind of over.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
This guy's actually so tanky.
Radiant's middle tower.
Oh, he has a Manta, that's probably why.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Very over game. So let's hop on the next one, and we'll see if your CM game goes a little better. Okay, number one most important thing when you're playing Crystal Maiden is get level 2 really rapidly. And that's because the purpose of the hero and one of the benefits is that you're giving mana to yourself and your whole team consistently. So the faster you get 2, the faster you're giving yourself and your team mana, which is basically 2 mana per second. That's a stupid amount of mana. So if you give your team mana really rapidly, you're on a good place. Starting with Magic Stick is ridiculous. You can't afford this. Crystal Maiden's most important purchases in the early game are usually Clarity Potions, because once you use 2 Frostbites to kill neutral creeps, you are level 2. Therefore, you want a Clarity Potion to offset that. I would even get a Clarity Potion over the Ironwood branch if you really want this Magic Stick, but to be completely honest, I don't think you need a Magic Stick. You are overvaluing it. It's not good at level 1. I'd prefer you actually have a Windlace, I think, versus a Magic Stick. Your 2 wards here are a little bit unnecessary. I think they're like very newbie level. I don't know where you're running right now. You're running back to block. Okay. So where you basically need to start usually is in a jungle where a large camp is, and just kill the large camp twice. But instead, by just approaching the lane like this, like this is the issue. CM does on average 39 damage at level 1. She is the second slowest hero in the game. The only hero that's slower than her is Techi's at 270 movement speed. And she has terrible base mana pool. She can cast her spell like 1.5 times. So basically, until you get there, you are literally the worst laning support in the game. More or less. Certainly one of the worst. There is literally no way you're going to make a huge dent in the Ogre Magi here. Pretty much every time you attack the Drow Ranger, she does 60 damage to you, and you're doing 39 to her. Despite having comparable armor. It sucks. What you should be doing, hit up the jungle, kill a large camp, stack it at 1 minute, kill that second large creep, and then all of a sudden you're 2. And then your whole team is getting an extra 1 mana per second. Everybody in the game. Which is obviously super advantageous in their lanes. But I feel what's going to happen is you're going to come to this lane, and you're going to stand here, and you're going to continue standing here. Which means you're not actually contributing to your lane, you're just standing there. Which means that you hitting 2 is only going to happen because you're doing it to Monkey King's detriment. So you are doing a pull, which is good. You were good about this last game. This is actually a good time to pull because you contesting these guys is very difficult to do. Getting the last hits is obviously nice if you can. I'm very glad that you pulled. This is great. I was wrong to say you were just going to stand around because this is already like a huge advantage. Because now these creeps are going to die in the jungle and they're not going to know where it was. So honestly, this part, very, very good. This part over here, not good. You kind of wasted some mana and time. I don't know. In some ways, okay, let's look at it this way. I was being too critical. Let me go back. Considering that you did eventually pull. Actually, we need even farther. So, this is the first creep wave meeting. You kind of helped to zone them a little bit, but I think you could have been a little bit more efficient about it personally. Eventually moving over to pull is great. This is honestly, what you just did here was not that bad. But I kind of wish you would have started in a large camp. With that said, considering the fact that there's an aggro dual lane, what you just did is completely reasonable. I'm completely fine with it. And the fact that you pulled and pulled through is A+. I'm actually very happy about that. So that was unfair of me. Sorry about that. This is good. The pull through gives you a full wave of experience. You've hit 2 by yourself, which allows Monkey King to get free experience in his lane. And now everybody gets mana, so the party starts. This is great. This is basically what you should do in a dual lane situation. The pull through is really, really, really important. And then ultimately you frostbite that so you get the gold. This is great. That did actually, oh, it's an observer word. I was going to say, I was like, that doesn't block. Check for bounty rune. It's already gone because this guy grabbed it, of course. Now he's coming over to jungle your camps, but he realizes they're gone. But he doesn't because he's bad and stuff. And you running back here to block creep wave, I don't think it's very important. I'd prefer that you're in lane maybe to attack. I think that'd be stronger. Getting last hits like this is fine if he's busy. I would resume pulling. You should have pulled here. Although they would have seen it coming with the Observer Ward. But, like, just use nukes against this guy. You might as well. It's obviously not very good for you, because if you use the Fire Blast, he's, like, really doing a lot of damage, but... This is what you should play around. Play around this guy, getting more stacks. Okay, you got the damage, dude. Go in. What are you doing? Alright, this guy super ditched you. You're 100% dead now. So the Monkey King kind of ditched you, but you also kind of messed up by backing. What? Oh, God. Oh, no. He gets on a tree later. Which one is it? Who's the offender? It's somebody over here. Okay, let's try not to be distracted by this. So basically what should happen... Oh, God. Oh, God. It's a tree attack. The way this lane should work is you should allow this guy to get 4 hits and then just blow everybody up. That's what should be happening. The issue is that you kind of got scared really early here. Like, right there, if you just would have frostbite this guy, the Monkey King should have easily been able to get 4 hits, gotten Jingu Mastery, and as a result, probably killed somebody. But you missed your frostbite. Your frostbite should have been when the Ogre was here. You got scared, right here. I would stand, right-click him, and then frostbite him. And then that would allow the Monkey King to move over and start collecting hits. By the time you use Frostbite, it's kind of late, and now you're just kind of committed. And you don't have Crystal Nova as a result. And then this guy gets the 4, but then he runs away. I don't know if you would have killed him anyways. He could maybe kill Drow, perhaps, but at this point you're going to die. You might as well use Frostbite before you die, because at least it does damage. Oh, thank God the tree stopped. Oh, now he decides to go in? Okay, I get it. Weird. Okay, so you're back. Gave him a Clarity Potion because you're a bro. Trying to put wards down. I would put one down over here to see how many people are in the lane. There's no reason for you to stand here attacking creeps. It's just not needed. It's not accomplishing anything. You'd be better off to, I don't know, go put the ward down in the meantime. But all you did basically was just auto-attack range creeps. But I don't really know why, to be honest. It was not very beneficial. You should be getting Nova here because it's a dual lane and you need to contest a little bit. And you went 2 in Frostbite. This is a huge mistake. You basically used 1 skill point to increase your damage by 50 and increase your disable duration by 0.5 seconds. Instead, you could put 1 skill point in Crystal Nova, increase your damage by 100 minimum, and it gives you more utility. 20% movement and attack speed slow for 4.5 seconds. So, yes, it costs more mana to do that, but your options are either 1 point in Crystal Nova by 3 or a 2nd point in Arcane Aura. That way you can cast way more Frostbites because you'd have an extra mana per second. But there's no way that I would ever go 0, 2, 1. It's just not needed. It does the same damage to neutrals. It increases the mana cost by 10 and does marginally more damage. Lowers the cooldown very slightly, but there's no reason you don't get Nova here. There's like literally no reason. You really should have been frostbiting there. Doesn't matter because everybody rotated over. But your right clicks were not very needed. What was needed was for you to remain within range to guarantee that you could cast another frostbite. Alright, now you're putting a ward down, but this is what you should have done when you're over here right-clicking range creeps. Now you've been inefficient with your time. Roaming to the mid lane. I would love for you to place a ward here. This would be great. Looks like you're just approaching. Oh, that guy fed.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Time to cut my losses.
Looks like you TP'd out, I'm guessing. Yeah, it looks like you TP'd out. You should have placed a ward while you're behind the tower.
Dire's
Instead, I have a feeling you're going to ward this or like a cliff or something. Yeah. Not a good ward. You don't need this. Ward their side of the map. Look at their heroes. Their heroes are not going to roam very much. Well, that means that you need to be the one to pressure them. And the better way to do that is to know where they are. Put a ward here. Put a ward over here. That way you always know where the sniper is. That would be helpful to Pudge. That way when Pudge goes mid, he always knows where sniper is, even if sniper's not attacking. But placing a ward here, what does this protect against? It will see them if they walk into the Roche Pit, which isn't going to happen this early in the game. It's going to spot this area over here. What's the point of that? That's your side of the map. You're not going to see anybody over here. This ward is just truly awful for Radiant in the early game, in my opinion, unless you're expecting somebody to roam on you. And if that's the case, I would actually put it over here instead. Alright, nobody's mid, so you're going mid. Now you're dead. Do you know why you died there? It's because there are literally 8 creeps here. You ran to the right side, which basically means the creeps are behind you, and there's a sniper over here. Like, you actually take so much damage from creeps. This is the easiest kill I've actually ever seen. Turn your rod on, dummy. Oh, why would you attack? Alright, that Pudge would have had that kill if he didn't keep walking. He has to land the hook to get the kill. It's the only way now. Okay, he actually does get the kill, but that should have been easier. And you shouldn't have died. If you are this squishy, just pull the creep wave past the tower. Don't circle the tower. Pull it to like here. Run the creeps from here, and then pull them down to here, and then circle this tower. This one's safer. Don't circle here. This is where you get killed. So enemy tower, the enemy is there. Alright, you're TPing to the bot lane. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe just to get here faster. I'm not super sure. And now you just showed them that you're here, which is not really needed. You still haven't bought Boots of Speed, by the way, but you have spent twice, I believe, on TP scrolls. Honestly, I want to point out that you're level 3 and it's 8 minutes in the game. That is insane. Again, you're at the bottom. You're Crystal Maiden, you're at the bottom. Let's look at your net worth. I bet it's comparable. Literally every game you're playing, you're the worst for net worth and you're the worst for levels. The only reason you're better for your levels on Rubik was because you had your own lane. And the one time you did that, this game you got killed because you did something that was a mistake. You have huge issues in your first 10 minutes. Like, you know how to pull and pull through, but you're only doing it about once successfully. And everything else that you're doing is on the wrong page completely. And you're making huge mistakes in time. Like, I want to go back and let's look at the start of the game again. And see how you spent your time. Because you're clearly having huge issues. If you're level 3 at 8 minutes, you're making a huge mistake. Like, actually massive mistake. Here we are, creeps spawned. You're running back to block creeps. Running with creeps eventually. 30 seconds into the game, came into the creep wave, you frostbit this guy. This part was relatively okay. I'll minimize this here. You stand in the creep wave right now is worthless. You actually could have pulled right there instead. But I'll forgive you. You only delayed by 30 seconds. Okay, pull starts. Everything's finally good. You already lost 30 seconds by standing in the creep wave too long, but at least you got the pull done. This pull went relatively good. You were focused more on denying than attacking. I think you could have been focused more on attacking, maybe. You do get all 3 last hits to this Wildkin camp, which is great. So look at your net worth right now. It's actually pretty good. You got a Wildkin camp, you got another small creep, you're pulling them to the left side. This is great. Your first 2 minutes was great. But how come you are just over level 2 right now, but 5.5 minutes later, you've only gained 1 level? How the fuck is that possible? Like, look at that. You're level 2 at 2 minutes 30 seconds, but at almost 8 minutes, you were level 3. How? What do you do in the next 5 minutes? Like, you could literally stand still for 5 minutes, and you'd probably do about the same as what we just saw. Like, that's incredible. You walked back, you spent 15 seconds to block creeps instead of doing anything else. Not that there was a lot to do here, but you could have probably done something else. Right click the ogre maybe. Oh, that's tough. He uses ignite. That sucks. But why not pull here? You could have pulled. Missed a pull. So that's basically a whole minute wasted. Frostbite an ogre. You're going to die here, which is giving gold to them. So you're dead. And now, I believe... Okay, you're TPing all the way to the bot lane. That loses you 50 gold. But they're gone now. You give them a clarity potion. You're spending time auto-attacking a range creep, so you're splitting experience 2 ways. Splitting experience. Alright, you're level 3 now at 5 minutes. What do you do in the next 3 minutes now? Frostbiting an ogre here. That guy dies. Okay. You get a tiny bit of experience because there's 4 heroes. And now you're on a warding mission. That was about 5-10. Running all the way mid. This isn't going to work. You're not going to get there in time. Then you're going to TP home. This is about a minute at least. There's another TP wasted. 50 gold. Going to the mid lane now. Oh, never mind. Going off to ward again. Even though you could have placed that ward while you're mid instead. So there's another 30 seconds. Like, alright, you TP. Let's look at this again. 606. Putting a ward down. 30 seconds wasted right now just to put that ward down. When instead you could have placed it when you were mid already. So you ran all the way to the mid lane. And then back. And then TP'd. So you lost like 30 seconds minimum. And lost 50 gold because you TP'd. Then you wasted another 30 seconds running over here. That's 1 minute to place 1 observer ward. Literally 1 whole minute to place 1 observer ward in your game. That's ridiculous. Place your observer ward while you're ganking. And I guess you were ganking there, but put the ward down while you're there, because then you won't have to waste 30 seconds in the next when you TP'd mid to ward. And then you die here, which means you're dead again. So you still haven't gotten experience. And now you're alive again. Still haven't gotten boots. Haven't really contributed much to kills. And then now we are headed back to the bot lane. You're level about 3.5. You're starting another pull, which is good. But we're 8 minutes in. You've gained 1 level. So everything we've seen you do was you contributed for the ogre kill where there are 4 heroes. You placed 2 wards, and you died twice. You've helped your opponents more than you've helped your team in the last 2 minutes, I'm quite sure. And it looks like you're going to die again here, and as a matter of fact. And again, the other issue is you don't have Crystal Nova, so you have one skill to help. That's it. That's all you're doing to help. Alright, level 4 at 8 minutes 30 seconds. It's like, it's just incredible. Like, what?
Is under attack.
It's taking so long for you to get any advantage. Okay, you certainly, I think you guys could have killed the draw there. Probably.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Like, if you're not level 6 by about 10 minutes, you're making a mistake. Pretty much.
Radiant's
Alright, so we're just about out of time, so what I want to show you next is... I'm just going to show you how fast you should be level 2 on CM. So let's go into a demo mode really quick. Crystal Maiden. Actually, we'll have to do a custom lobby. And then we'll turn cheats on and do all pick. And public, that's fine. And we'll fill empty slots with bots or whatever. This is okay. Alright, we'll just start the game. And we'll just pick CM. I'm going to show you how fast you can be level 2. And then what you should do with it. There's lots of different variations to play CM for the early game. Maybe not lots, but there's a few. But your goal is basically fast level 2, get some stuff done, problem solved. Basically. Alright, Courier, Observer, Observer. I'm going to get 2 Clarities because I need those. I need at least 1 Tango. And then we can do other stuff like I could buy a Smoke of Deceit and I could get 2 Ironwood Branches. And by doing this, I'll drop the Courier and I'll have 2 Ironwood Branches, I'll have 2 Clarities. This kind of covers everything I want to do. I might want to gank early. I'm going to have Observer Wards for my team. I don't have Detection, which is maybe a downside, but hypothetically, if I wanted to, I could sell like one of my Clarities, the 2 Ironwood Branches, a Smoke, and get a Sentry or a Dust or something. I could probably do that. No, I would have to sell all 4, unfortunately, because I'm 10 gold short. Like, the fast level 2 is the most important thing on Crystal Maidens. If you're not doing that when you're playing Crystal Maiden, you shouldn't be picking Crystal Maiden as far as I'm concerned. Because their level 1 is just so weak otherwise.
Yes.
So pretty much always we're going to get Frostbite. Without exception. I'm going to have my Ironwood Branch. I'm going to go over here and give somebody a ward. I don't know if they're actually going to place it or not. I don't even know if the bots are going to move. Okay, it looks like they are going to move out. Oh god, their item's so bad. Like, you do not need Magic Stick level 1. It's just so unneeded. Like, look how many different things I can do with my build right now. But you spent 200 gold on a Magic Stick. So if they just don't cast a spell, your Magic Stick actually does nothing. But I have 2 damage here. I've also got 40 more HP. I've also got like 0.06 more mana regen per second, I think is what it is, something like that. I've also got a Smoke so I can gank places. I've got more than enough mana regen, even if I don't get level 2. It makes a huge difference. I also have Precision Aura, which is maybe a little biased or whatever. I'm just going to pause this until the game starts, because it's not worth waiting 40 seconds. Turn off.
30 seconds to
I
battle.
thought as much.
Or turn mine. Okay, I haven't played CM in 7.0 very much, and so the large camps are a little bit different than they were before, but I'll show you an example. I'm not going to take this because hypothetically a carry would get it, but here's our large camp, right? So hypothetically, even if you want to stay kind of close to your lane, you can, instead of placing this observer ward, I could have put it like here to see what's in my lane, and then what I can do is I can kill the large creep here when it spawns at 30 seconds, and then I can stack it, kill the next large creep, and then I have a bunch of like little shitty things, which means that I can still actually pull through, probably, maybe, and still kind of be in my lane if needed. So these guys are all going to like match up or whatever. It's going to be some enemy heroes, and then I'm just going to jungle.
Let's go.
So I got the best spawn here because you can kill both of these with the frostbite really easy. But watch, it's just so simple. I just sit here and I auto attack creeps and I press my clarity potion, and you can't even get your clarity potion broken anymore. And I'm not going to kill this right now because it would kind of break my example, but because this is the best camp. But I'm just going to wait to stack this.
To battle.
Hopefully it stacks. Yeah, it does. Okay. So, camp stacked. Pull this out. Now I'm going to kill this guy. And now I'm going to be level 2. So we're about a minute into the game. I'm about to hit level 2. And now you got 2 options. Alright. I hit level 2. At 1 minute, I can either give my whole team 1 mana per second, or myself 2. Or I could even just do a gank here. I could grab Crystal Nova. I can move over here and get a gank. Let's give it a shot. You don't always have to do this. Most of the time I would say this is dangerous. But I'm just going to ping this, be like, go kill him. Go team. Okay, my bots aren't doing anything, but... This ain't on me. This is literally not on me. That's not on me. My bots didn't move. I have a Vengeful Spirit and a Draw Ranger. Why wouldn't they do anything? I pinged, guys. It's bullshit. Okay, but that's what you can do basically. You can gank lanes. You can grab Arcane Aura. And then go back to the lane. Either option works, but you should do it really fast, ideally. So over here, what was left over was the 2 small Wildkins and the yellow Hellbear, which I could then resume pulling with, for example. Or you can do what you did in your game, just do it 30 seconds earlier. Show up the lane, harass a little bit, go start the pull, get the level 2. Then you're good. But you should basically mix in jungling like that consistently with what you're doing. And if you just do that a little bit, every time I kill one of those large creeps, I get 70 gold. But the problem is you pretty much never did that unless you were pulling. And that means that if you're doing this, you might as well just play another hero. Because you can get all that stuff done. I wasn't able to get the pull off, unfortunately. Oh, that's right there, all the way back there. You can get all the stuff done that you were trying to do just by playing any hero. But the benefit of Crystal Maiden is that she can jungle, and she's very self-sufficient in terms of mana. So you should try to make her more reliant on that. Like, I could actually just... You could hit up the jungle and just AFK jungle, and you would get more levels than you do in the games that you're playing. Honestly. And I think you would probably affect the game in a more positive way. Just because you could be getting more, but you're not. Like, this is me just by myself, and I'm almost level 3. And it's 2 minutes in. And all I've done was kill 3 large camps by myself.
Swiftly.
I'm not saying you should just always sit in here, because you shouldn't. It's definitely important to get out sometimes and get active. But certainly there's going to be periods of times where you can just hit up the jungle and get some free levels. So, hey, level 3. So, like, you were level 3 at 8 minutes, and I just hit it at 2 minutes 40 seconds just by killing 2 large camps and a bit of a medium camp and grabbing 1 bounty rune. That was it. And I've gotten myself boots. And I even died. Hypothetically, that gank should have worked. We should have probably killed at least 1 hero. But obviously my allies didn't help. And I also tanked a creep wave, which is a mistake. But really, they should have moved forward, and we could have probably very easily gotten a kill, because then we had 3 disables. Like, that's what's so cool about CM, is that most supports don't have 2 disables and 2 nukes at level 2. But if you want to use them that way, you can. It's really effective, because then I do, with 1 point in Nova and 1 point in Frostbite, I already do 250 magic damage, which is insane for a level 2 hero. Very, very few heroes do that much damage. Even Ogre doesn't. I think Ogre's Ignite does like 130 or something, and his Fire Blast does 55. So he does less. Ogre does less nuke damage than CM does at level 2. So getting the fast levels and then using those skills to get shit done is how you should play Crystal Maiden. But the way you're playing Crystal Maiden is playing him like a regular support, and that's not completely correct. I don't recommend it that way. But this should almost always be your skill build. It's either this or go 0-1-2 if you know you're just going to be in lane, casting Frostbite on one guy repeatedly is a decent solution. And at this point, I would just buy boots. So you got to fix your CM game, man. You got to fix your support game as well. Fix your mana usage, fix your skill builds. You're messing a lot of stuff up. Be humble about your gameplay. You deserve to be 1000 MMR. And that's why you're there. Because the way that you're playing is not effective in the early game. You're getting behind, and it's just hurting you. So, anyways, I hope that was very informative. Thank you for signing up. I really appreciate it. Again, apologies about the delay. And thank you everybody else for watching.